Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Manual Breathing. I'm here with my good buddy Jay, my good pal Kaegan, and I'm Calum. Welcome to the show. You breathing all right there? Your tongue in the right spot of your mouth? Your eyes blinking at a non-manual pace? Keep it up. Or stop. We'll distract you with some great commentary to make you resume your automatic breathing. So, could have been better.
No, you couldn't possibly. What's the difference between a buddy and a pal, dude?
I'm not sure, buddy. One of you are definitely lower on the friendship ranking.
Yeah. So what's the difference between buddy and pal?
Wow. So what are you talking about today, Kaegan?
Interesting. I'm talking about things that make me angry.
Oh, is that genuinely it?
I'm just talking about some things that, maybe.
We got to do some housekeeping. First, I feel like we got some feedback regarding our last episode.
I do want to keep my house.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Housekeeping. We have to. There was a lot of people who had some feedback to provide to us for our last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
All.
Yeah. What they say, guys?
They said, "Isn't it so cool how the lot of us exist? How awesome is that, you guys?"
Oh, I got something right here. It said, "Wow, Calum's voice is very attractive to listen to for extended periods of time."
He must also be an attractive man.
By
match
default.
the voice.
How'd you know that they said that? Did they send that to you too?
I read the comments too.
Oh, gotcha.
The comments on
Yeah.
Everything. They posted it on everything.
The media.
I'm angry.
Yeah, we actually got a story written about us on Bret Bart.
Oh no.
Should I know what that is?
Very alt-right news station.
A really all-right news station?
Alt-right.
Oh, alternative.
Alternative.
Right?
Yeah. A really okay news station. So, I don't see the problem, Caleb.
No, but we appreciate your guys' feedback.
All of you.
All of you.
Yeah, feel free to comment on anything. We'll read out your posts until we become monsterly famous.
Yeah, because it's gonna happen.
I don't remember you, Dave.
We'll read every single comment.
That's a guarantee.
Forever.
That's an episode 6 guarantee.
Episode 6. Yes.
Yes.
Man, I really hope we don't become famous now.
Just because
sounds like a lot of work, and I'm a man of my word.
Yeah,
man.
it would be
I
so
broke
terrible.
the cursing word. Or
we're gonna have
the cursing rule.
If you're listening to this, we're gonna have a poll question on Twitter that you should answer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure.
Ooh,
We'll
is
figure
that going to be on the
out.
hot take?
Yes.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
Okay. Well,
all right,
speaking of the hot take,
hit us with your hot takes.
No, Calum. I want to know what did you say earlier?
Please, I'm struggling to breathe here.
What?
I need a distraction so I can continue automatically breathing.
I want you to say out loud what you said before.
I do not remember already.
I'll remind you. It had to do with Canada.
Oh yeah, Canadians are dicks too.
Great poutine though.
Great poutine though.
Why?
All right, Kaegan, hit it.
Why No. You're right. Sorry. No one gets to argue the hot takes.
Go.
I wanted to talk about the state of our generation and like what we think and how like we're just babies.
Say it, Jay. Say it, Jay.
No, I love it because
2 words.
Your topic is gonna melt into mine pretty well.
Okay, boomer.
No.
Basically.
Okay, straight up. What I'd like to talk about is I think that as a people we are making way too many excuses for ourselves. And we're talking about things we don't need to talk about. It's just life. For example, I'm scrolling the gram, you know how it is, and I come across a few posts, and I'm going to talk about a few of those posts today. One says, it's just a picture of some, it's a drawing, and it says, "I cancel plans to spend time with me." What's your first reaction to that, you guys? Fine? Good? Great?
To me, it seems like every decision that you make can be spun or spin. You know, like the no spin zone. You know, when you spin a story.
Yeah, for sure.
Every decision that is ever made can be spun in a way that made it seem like you did the best thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can say like I canceled plans that I made a month ago with some friends that they were really excited to see me for, because I needed to do it for myself.
Yeah. And you know what? You're just a bad person. Quit canceling plans. You don't have to make the plans in the first place. Like, sorry, I'm gonna try and stay calm here. But like, this just bothers me because people are getting the excuses to do whatever they want.
No, here's the thing though, is that you can cancel plans, but it doesn't need to always be some like self-righteous like decision.
Just acknowledge you did kind of a jerk move.
Yeah, you're not always the good guy.
Like, acknowledge you did it for selfish reasons, and just...
Like that new Selena Gomez song, I Had to Lose You to Love Me.
Like that new Selena
I feel like
Gomez
that makes
song.
even just a little bit of sense. If someone's toxic or something.
Okay, well...
I've never heard the song. But no, it's just like, it doesn't... You don't have to, like, do that. This whole, like, oh, I just need a personal me time, all that kind of stuff. Oh, my mental health is so important. What?
So, like, my thing with it is, I feel like if you're in a position where you can easily cancel those plans to make personal time like that, you're probably in a pretty privileged position, I'd say. Like, obviously, like, you know, if you're really low on money, you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're not going to be like, oh, I called out of work today because I need me time or something like that. Yeah. Like, that just... I don't know, something about it just reeks of, like, some privilege.
Well, is there another example that's similar to this? Because I feel like canceling plans just happened to be the one that you brought up.
Yeah. There's a few more. The next one says, it's a picture of Albert Einstein as the backdrop, obviously.
Dude, ours are linking up again.
Man.
Albert Einstein is in mine.
Okay, no.
How do we do it?
He's dope. I promise he has nothing to do with this. It says, the thing about smart people is that they sound crazy to dumb people. Shut your mouth.
Dude...
You are...
Oh, I can get so on this train. As an engineer.
Oh my god.
I can't.
But real talk.
He can't go one episode.
Like, in my engineering classes, so many people are just like, man, it hurts being so smart, you know? Like, nobody understands my genius. And it just has, like, that mentality is so prevalent in engineering, where it's just like... Like, my roommate has a cup. Oh, I hope he doesn't listen to this. But I hate this cup that he has that's like, oh, I'm an engineer. I probably talk about a bunch of things you wouldn't understand. And it just goes on, basically calling whoever's reading this cup stupid. And I'm just like, why?
You're gonna walk into your door, and then all of a sudden this cup is just gonna smash against like the wall. It's gonna be like he's gonna have like the dripping mascara.
And I feel like this kind of post is just justification for any stupid person to be like, people just don't get me.
Exactly.
Like, I'm on some big brain energy, and they just don't get me.
I wanna say this. I think this is so important, and it's not bad. Most likely, if you're listening to this, not if you're listening to this, like this is the deciding factor, but you are an average person. You are an average person.
Most people are average. That's
literally
what
how
average
it works.
means.
Exactly. Like, and I'm not saying like, oh, you know, you have nothing to offer the world. Like, the average people have things that they're passionate about, and they have things that they're good at, and everyone is different in that way. But you are not the top 1% of people. Like, you are not Albert Einstein. You are nowhere near Albert Einstein. And guess what? You don't need to be to live an amazing life. You just don't have to be. Find what you like and do what you like. That's all you need to do to live a really happy life. You don't need to be the best at this. You don't need to be the smartest in the room. You don't need to be this. You don't need to be that. Average is fine.
Find something to be happy about besides being the best at something.
And if you're not the best at something, that also isn't the worst thing in the world. Because
it's okay
most
to be
people
just good at something.
Yeah, most people aren't the best at something.
What's up, Jay?
You know what I feel like? There's like a root to this problem though, and I think it's because our generation has kind of been raised to treat everyone as special. You know?
That needs to end. It's just not true.
No, I kind of agree. I mean, I think it's become so much that it's like everyone is special in their own way. And that's, I feel like generally from its inception is a good idea.
And it's true. Yeah.
So to keep like the boomer phase going on with this episode, it's totally because of social media, right? Like,
Oh, with your...
The fact that everybody, like, is competing to be the best at everything is totally just because we were raised in an environment where we share the best of ourselves on social media.
Yeah, I guess
at all
that does make
times.
sense.
Well, people want to stand out, and I feel like the
Yeah.
only way you can really do that is by having a unique opinion on something. But what happens is these unique opinions, or these unpopular opinions, as it were, is that they're shared by many. I mean, to not like something, I mean, it kind of sounds cliche, but to not like something is not in itself like a personality personality thing. I mean, you can't just... That's what I noticed about people who, like, don't know much about something.
They just choose something
to sound like they know something about it. They'll say they hate it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like did you watch do you watch Game of Thrones?
Oh, no, dude, I hate Game of Thrones.
No, I just,
that show got bad reviews on the last season. That show sucks.
Yeah. But also,
Like,
deodorant wasn't even until 1890. It
I
wasn't
swear
popularized in the 1900s. It's just not... The show, like, imagine how bad those people smell.
That's what gets me about the show Lost.
They're
lost on an island. They have a finite amount of toothpaste that
So,
they found.
Kaegan, what's your next bit?
Sorry.
Next bit of your bite.
Yeah, quit saying bit. Okay. So, this one says, some people don't understand that sitting in your own house alone in peace, eating snacks, and minding your business is expletive priceless. And look, that's cool, do it. Like, I'm not saying that in itself is bad, but, like, this is not a hot take, alright?
So that's definitely like the I'm not like other girls / guys phenomenon, where everybody says, you know what, I'm not like those other people who go out on Saturday nights and party and drink and do drugs and whatnot, and like really they're just spending one Saturday night in by themselves, but probably they do that most.
And what I'm saying is even if they're doing the Saturday thing and they're just doing this on a random Wednesday, you're still not, like, why do you need to say this? Like, other people are just doing that and living their life, but you decided to tweet about this, Tom Hardy? Do you hate that, like...
Oh, that's Tom Hardy tweeted that?
No, someone put his name over some text and pretended he tweeted it, which I also don't like.
I really love that dude,
different...
Tom Hardy, just Bane tweeting that out.
This next one. Does anyone else feel like they are a lazy perfectionist with ADHD and chronic fatigue who is pretty chill besides the occasional panic attack and loves their friends but hates people?
That one's ironic. That one's ironic. I don't believe it. That one's gotta be like somebody posted that just to get like a bunch of people to like it. But the people who liked it genuinely meant it.
Here's the thing is that I feel like the problem with that is you're trying to make it to be special, but there are people who actually suffer from these problems. And I feel like that kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, when there are things where it's like, if you have to cancel plans for your mental health, there are people who actually do need that kind of thing, that they're going through something that is last second, and they're like, you know what, I can't attend to this thing because I am going through something else. And those are very legitimate, I feel. It's the people who say, like, I'm not going to go out tonight because I'd rather just lay in bed and watch TV and stuff like that. Those people who are canceling plans for me time, in quotes I say, but there are people who actually have, maybe some anxiety or stress, like real life stress that they feel it's best to kind of deal with it in their own way. And this person you're reading saying that they have
Hannah Burner, another fake.
Wait, why?
Another fake thing.
We're doxing people. So like one of the things that I really hate is like, when did it become such a bad thing to just accept that you have flaws? Like, it seems like all these people are trying to justify their flaws as either good things or like things that they can't control.
Yeah.
So it's something that they don't have to personally take responsibility for.
All right.
But like
your height.
So here's my unwoke is about to show.
Yeah.
Genuinely, so what Jay was saying is something I tell people all the time. The word, anxiety, depression, even the words like love and hate, like, we do not use words in the way that they should be used anymore. People say like,
I'm so against love and hate being in that category. Yeah. I'm really against that.
Well, then we'll talk about anxiety and depression, and then I'll say why you're wrong.
I literally hate using the word literally.
I hate you saying that love and hate don't belong in that.
Just hold on. So, the thing with anxiety and depression is, I agree with Jay, that is a real thing that people deal with. Like, people in my family, there's someone who deals with depression. And, like, when you say, like, you know, this one says panic attacks, but, like, when you say ADHD, like, people are like, oh, I have OCD. Don't do that. It affects people on a daily basis where they just, their whole lives start to revolve around this thing if they don't have it under control. And, like, same with anxiety and depression. Like, you're nervous for a test. You have something to say, Calum?
Please don't cancel us.
Don't worry, we have you to balance out the unwoke. But, like, don't say you have anxiety. You're nervous for a test, all right? Like, just quit it. Don't say you have depression, like, you're just lazy and you don't want to go out. Or, oh, you feel sad about this thing that you legitimately can feel sad about. But it's sadness. It's not clinical depression. Quit using that word. Yeah. I'm not saying your problems aren't important or anything like that. Sometimes days suck. But that's the thing, is that days suck. Depression and anxiety and words like that, that is like, my life has to change type of stuff.
Can you be depressed? So people say, like, my depression, or I have depression. But can you be depressed?
I mean, I think it means a lot more than... You can be sad. Like, can't you just be really, really sad? Like, you have to be all hyperbolic and say depressed? Depressed means so much, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, I just get upset.
It's emotionally loaded.
Yes, yeah.
But I think with something like this, where obviously even our two perceptions on what love and hate is shouldn't be comparable to something like anxiety and depression, where that shouldn't be something that changes between people and cultures.
Oh, yeah.
That's something that everybody should look at and be like, this person is medically diagnosed with depression. This person is not. But like love and hate and stuff like that, that's where my beef with it comes in pretty much.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that makes sense. I was just talking about words that aren't being used in like I think they're being overused. What was the other example I made up with?
Like, using the word literally.
Literally.
I literally died because I thought I forgot my homework at home.
Dude, so are you good? Literally a ghost?
You good?
That's what I'm saying. People will say that though. I'll say that.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I mean, like...
But I'm not excusing myself for saying that's the whole point.
Okay, I see you got another one lined up there, yeah.
So it says, new dating app idea. It's called 7.5. Only for people who are like a strong 7, maybe 8 on a good day. Who look kind of athletic but would probably die if they had to run a mile. Have depression, but the kind that makes you funny. Car's check engine light is on. No one else is allowed.
You're just mad because you're 6, huh?
Yeah.
I feel like that's
just a general in life thing.
That's kind of a culmination of a lot of the things we were talking about. I mean, how can you objectively say whether or not someone is an 8? Maybe I'm not looking at this big picture enough.
Yeah.
You want to dissect it for me?
I think that it's the look kind of athletic, but would probably die if they had to run a mile. This is the average part.
That sounds pretty bad. Like, well, I feel like the average person can run a mile.
All right, Calum's a runner.
Average person can run a mile.
We're gonna say Calum's
Jake,
a runner.
The last time I ran a mile, I think, was literally in high school. Literally.
But so anyway, average person, and then have depression, but the kind that makes you funny. Shut up. You're just a person.
Up.
You're probably a sad person. But
you're just a person with some sad things going on in your life.
Yeah,
you're cynical.
That's literally what it means.
Take that sentence for what it's worth. Depression, but the kind that makes you funny.
That's a shitty sentence. Ooh, I said the naughty word. That's a shitty sentence to say.
It's just it makes me so upset because what it is you're thinking only of yourself. You are only trying to make the most grandiose statement about yourself, and you want people to laugh at how over the top you're being because you want them to be like,
hyperbolicism
totally
is good and can be funny when it's not at like the expense of like an entire group of people.
Yeah. And this is my last one. It says, and this one's a little bit longer. Quote, my 6-year-old burst into tears and said he was too sick to go to school when we got in the car this morning.
Tell me about this one.
Yeah. It was clear that he was not sick, but he's never done that before. So welcome to your first mental health day, dude. We're going to Target and watching movies and eating muffins. And then in another tweet, it says, update, after our chill day, Jasper got up this morning like any other day and went to school all smiles. This is a bad mother. This is straight up, it's a bad mother. This kid is 6 years old. He didn't want to go to school because he's used to just living life all day doing nothing.
Because I was looking up something that I feel like you would appreciate. It was a tweet that said, it was someone talking about how special they are, or in this case, her son. And she said, Everyone dies one... This is in quotes. Everyone dies one day. Everyone. Even wolves. But not books. Not words. Words don't die. Quote. And it was quoted by my son, 3, who is a lot smarter than I am. And someone commented and said, "Oh, F off, Rebecca. He did not say that."
Okay. I'm just gonna fully disclose. I've seen that before, and I've never been happier with a dude in my life. Like that, he like nail on the head. Why would you do that? You're looking for it's just attention. It's just seeking attention.
Okay.
And now you're
Back
getting
to the 6-year-old.
All right. Anyway.
It can be something because I was looking at that, I wasn't able to hear that thing you were.
Yeah.
doing,
Okay. So.
But I apparently have such a great opinion. Essentially.
This girl, her son didn't want to go to school. 6 years old, and she was like, "Oh, he's not sick, but he's saying he's sick. He just doesn't know how to like say that he doesn't want to go to school. So we're just gonna skip school today. We're gonna watch movies and we're gonna bake and we're just gonna chill out because you need a mental health day." And that's wrong. He's 6. You don't need a mental health day. You just need to go to school.
What's the worst things in this kid's life? Like, he's not getting bullied.
He's not dealing with
You
anything.
don't get bullied when you're... I'm sorry, like, maybe somebody's been bullied when they're 6. But this kid doesn't have the concept of death fully ingrained in his head to, like, potentially commit suicide or something like that.
And I was so upset by this because that's dumb. Like, for example, your grandparents didn't have mental health days. All right, they just had some bad days at school or work.
Okay, I don't like... I'm gonna debate you on some things coming here.
They walked to school 2 miles in the snow, uphill,
both ways. Like, it's just ridiculous because everyone's being such babies now. And I went to the comment section expecting a bunch of people to like be like, "Oh, you're a bad mom. Like, what are you doing? Your kid is 6. Like, I don't believe high schoolers need to do that. Like, sorry, dude. You're in high school. You're hormonal. Life feels like it sucks sometimes. Go to school." But anyway, I say this as a kid who took a lot of days off school. But that's because I'm lazy, not because I felt like I needed a mental health day. But in the comments, everyone was for this, like, "Oh, way to be. He's gonna learn so much from you. You're such a good mom." And then there was one dude. I scrolled long enough to find one dude who was like, "What are you doing? Like, your kid is 6. He doesn't need a mental health day. I don't think you should have done that."
And he got bagged on.
He got bagged on for 50 comments. Just everyone. I read every single comment. No one agreed with him. Everyone was like, "Oh, wow. Way to have your kids are going to have anxiety. Oh, wow. Way to be. You're not teaching anyone the right thing to do."
So straight up, I think that kids nowadays do have more stuff to worry about than previous generations. And I think that it can be possible to have this work well on a high schooler level. I don't think for a 6-year-old, they have no concept of death. Your 6-year-old's not going to come home and kill themselves.
Tell me what a high schooler has to deal with, Calum.
Dude,
Go ahead.
You do learn abstract thinking
I tried to kill myself
when you hit. Oh,
Look,
ooh.
I'm not saying I'm not going to deal with any of that. I'm saying you talk about a high schooler who needs a mental health day. That's not a problem that a mental health day will solve.
Yeah, here's the thing. That mental health day, completely wrong, too. Like, it's just, don't give them, like, movies and, like, junk food and crap like that. That's not gonna help them. That's just
could have been brand muffins.
a trash discussion.
Well, I feel like there can't be a stigma on these kind of things, though. I mean, I feel like if anything, I feel like there should be some more, maybe if there is something, whatever a student equates to needing a mental health day, if there can be something like that at school, maybe some sort of counseling or something like that, where there's less of a stigma of you're just a kid going through kid problems. I mean, there are people, I feel like maybe around high school is about the time that you start having those kind of serious thoughts.
Yeah.
Whether or not, I mean, you know, obviously in hindsight, we can look back to our high school selves and be like, you were stupid for having a crush on that girl, or you were dumb for blowing your friends off for that girl, or something about
like
this girl. The point is, Jonathan, you should have hung out with us instead of that girl.
He's freaking out, man.
I'm just kidding. It has nothing to do specifically with any girl. But what I'm trying to say
it does
is,
have to do with Jonathan, though.
at that time, we think about how dumb those thoughts are when we're in high school. But when you were in that body and mind, you were thinking of this as a very serious thing.
Yeah.
These sort of hormonal problems, these issues, they felt like very real things to be going through.
And people survived. I'm not going to call Calum out, but 100% dealt with stuff.
Because people I'm going to be real, people had religion. Like, this is where I'm bringing religion back in as a good piece, because people had a fear of what would come if they were to commit suicide, but now that less people are religious, I see some sort of link in there where people see the outcome of their near future and they see just death as nothing afterwards. Mm-hmm. So why would you face a life that you expect to be painful when you could just go with death?
I'm just really, really passionate about this because, like, Calum, you're someone who, it makes sense that happened. Like, you lived a life. Most high schools, if you have two parents at home and you've never worried about food, like, if you've never worried about, I need to move or I need to do this, or, my sister's bullying me, but it's like, that's my sister. Like, shut up.
There's a very privileged generation that is dealing with this and just not aware of their privileges.
So you sit there and you say, I have anxiety and I have depression, and it's like, the worst thing that has happened to you is your friend got a really cool car for their Sweet 16, and you got a junker. So stop, all right? I'm going to sit here and still say high schoolers do not need mental health days. Grow up. Like, you're going to have to eventually.
Part of as a closing statement, I feel like two things come to mind. Case by case and context, I feel like are important. Because, I think what Kaegan has said is very fascinating, very potent.
I agree with that.
Good talking point. And what I will say is that there may be someone out there who has a specific case that they require the need for whatever thing. I think the idea here though is that we're seeing people post these things online as to try to become this holier than thou person above everyone else, and that I think is what gets to all of us, like what gets to us as far as like you're not that special kind of feeling. Yeah, it's like whatever thing you're posting about, you're making it seem like because we're not also currently doing that thing, that we're not as good as you, Yeah. And so in that sense, I can really get behind what you're saying in some sort.
It's just people trying to flex on us just all the time.
Well, okay, what I really want to say is, like, if anyone is even still listening, what I really think, like, for one, I love people first. Like, that's what I do first. Yes, I have opinions.
That's what I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a big word, Kaegan. You sure about that?
No, and I genuinely, like, I would legitimately, for a stranger, take a bullet. Like, mainly because, what's life, but... no, like,
audience.
No, but, you're supposed to...
just making Kaegan out to defend every word he said.
What I'm saying, I'm religious, you love people first, that's what you do. In any context, but I do have issues with some people thinking that they are the center of it all. I think that's the issue with a lot of, like, the problems I have with people, society, whatever, is genuinely just the amount of self-centeredness that's going on. And I don't mean to take away from the people who are dealing with stuff, the people who are going through stuff, and they do feel like the world is kind of... You have no choice but to think about yourself because you're just trying to survive. There's stuff that's going on and you need to focus on you first. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that at all. I think that's a really respectable thing to do and a healthy thing to do. But it should not bleed into other parts of your life where you're like, I can't go to work today. I'm not feeling, like, mentally okay. Like, you have to go... Like, this is life. You have to live it. And it's hard for a lot of people. That's what I feel like people should remember, that no matter how hard your life gets, like, maybe you're in the, top %, but other people are going through it as well, and they're doing it successfully. And you have to think about that, because whenever you're taking a mental health day because you're just not feeling it, other people are not feeling it either, and they just have to do it. So don't make excuses for yourself. Just live your life. The way you know is right, live it. If you have to pay bills and you're like, I need to take a mental health day, I hope you have some money saved up. Like, you can't, what are you going to do? Fall back on your parents? Like, so, I just want to say, people are average. It's okay to be average. Deal with your stuff. Don't be so self-centered. Other people are living too. And that's pretty much it.
Get canceled.
And I love people, and you should too.
Get canceled.
I'll take it.
I literally hate that I love people.
Well, this is my last day
You
on the
went
podcast.
the fuck off, man.
I'm telling you, he was passionate.
No,
that's
that's
how I
passionate. I like
feel, man. Oh, the good people are good.
Man, we're gonna go out to we got another camping session.
I'm
Just gonna
down.
yell at you the whole time.
I think that's okay.
Yeah, I'm ready.
I'm willing to have my mind changed too.
Yeah, I think we both are.
I think that's a good thing. You say I think you both are?
I think we both are. I think you both are. By my right opinion.
I think you both are open to getting your minds changed. That's what's happening right now. Right?
Not even ready for this.
I think you're ready for this take.
What I was saying earlier about your topic kind of bleeding into mine, especially with the Gen Z kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Well, my topic of the day is something that's topical.
This was recording the whole time.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Oh my god.
We don't pause it anymore.
Oh.
My goodness,
Whoopsies.
man.
Yeah, we go live on Twitch.
Wow,
We really
there's
should.
some raw Calum for you. Oh, I
didn't
don't like
know
that
where it was
term either.
going?
Yeah, no, that was just.
He's sitting there like, we're going to have some things to talk about later, Kaegan. And he's like,
We have a new segment of the show. It's called Calum in Raw.
Oh, ooh.
let's just keep telling him, like, we'll randomly pause it, we'll randomly start pausing it, but he'll never sit here again.
And I'm
He'll just never know.
I'm just screaming the whole time, and they're just like, wow, Calum's an asshole.
Oh, Calum's
Alright.
Canadian. Alright.
Because Canadians are dicks too.
Okay.
Go for it, Jen.
This is going to have that E thing next to
Yeah,
it.
it's definitely going to happen.
Which puts me more at ease because today I want to talk about simps.
Sins?
Simps.
Sins.
Sips. Like a sip of Coke.
Simp.
Can you spell it?
Simpanzees.
S-I-M-P.
He's making this up.
What do they ask? What is
Have you guys not heard of a simp?
No.
No.
It's making the rounds, you boomers.
Keep up.
I would like... okay, so simp is a very popular term. I think it's mostly coming... Maybe the popularity is growing from TikTok, maybe mostly.
Okay.
But it's also
So
coming
you hang
from...
out on TikTok.
It's...
I'm
follow us
getting
on
now. You know what? I do hate this
I think I'm
subject.
getting who Jay is now.
No. It's everywhere, though. It's in comment sections. It's in Instagram comment sections.
Okay.
It's in Reddit comment sections.
I hate that.
Those are Visco girls,
I don't know what that means.
which
either.
is next.
Okay,
These
why
are-
you
these
keep
are
calling me a
words.
boomer?
Which is
All right?
next week's topics.
That makes no sense.
So you know the political beliefs of a boomer. You voted for Reagan.
political.
Didn't
What am I saying that's
you?
political?
Continue, Jay.
So a simp, from Urban Dictionary, the definition.
Trusted
Trust the
source.
source.
No.
A simp is a
Big
man.
boomer image.
A man that puts himself in a subservient or submissive position under women in hopes of winning them over, without the female bringing anything to the table. Otherwise, some examples is a man that puts too much value on a female for no reason. A man that prides himself with chivalry in hopes of getting gratification from women, maybe possibly sexually or otherwise. A square with no game other than rolling out the red carpet for every female.
Dude,
Yeah.
you know what? You're right. The downfall of American culture is upon us.
Yeah. Well, pretty much. Kids these days.
So, Jay.
So some examples of simps are Mordecai. Did you guys ever watch the regular show?
No.
Yeah. He was a bird dude.
Yeah.
He's a
He
big
kind
bird.
of he tried so hard to get with this girl
Yeah.
that he would kind of say things that were like he would be like, "Hey, are you seeing anyone?" And she's like, "No, not right now. Men are kind of trash." And he's like, "Yeah, totally. Men are garbage. Like just those kind of people." So I'm wondering if you guys notice that in real life, that there are people Okay, so I think what I'm noticing is a trend of, okay, so there's a movement, a feminist movement, and that is a good thing. And there becomes these men who they get caught up in that feminism so much so that they start attacking, like, they start putting down other men in a way that kind of it's selfish. It's almost like they're not getting it. They're not getting the point of the feminist movement. They are more taking advantage of that idea for their betterment and their advantage to get more women.
Yeah.
So it's actually what's happening is that there's these men who will just agree with anything that women will say or say anything to almost kind of try to get into a lady's pants.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
Yeah.
No one's worth your self-degradation for the chance of getting in their pants.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
You kind of become sort of like a kiss butt,
Yeah.
a brown noser, as it were.
Yeah. And I'm the first to admit that I'm uneducated on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
People have said that I'm unwoke. You know, people have.
Who would say such a thing?
I don't know. You know, rude people.
That's my hold on. Before you go on, I just like to say that's my favorite thing about what we do.
Yeah.
I feel like we don't have to be. I don't ever want to come into this episode with knowing everything there is to know, and that my mind can't be changed on anything.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And so I feel like that is important to know going forward. Is like we can have disagreements in the way that we can either have our minds changed or just have at least a little more compromise in understanding. You know?
Yeah, that's really what I like about
I really love that, but I'm still gonna punch Kaegan in the face after this podcast.
So what I was gonna
Stole my gummy
say is that's what I like about me and Calum's friendship is that hey, this isn't the space to talk
am I a
about
bad friend?
I'm the bad.
Now I'm more woke about it. No, I was just gonna say that I do like that about me and Calum's friendship is like my mind has been changed about things that we talk about, and his mind has never been changed because he's already woke. But like, it's cool because I go into every conversation we have about anything controversial. For one, I don't plan to have the conversations, but two, I go in and he goes in knowing that I'm like malleable and I am uneducated in a lot of
This
stuff.
sounds like I'm just a friend who's just like a leech on you, trying to like just infect you with ideas. I'd also like to point out, me and Kaegan have talked about religion. He's influenced my perception on religion in multiple ways. And he's definitely helped dig out any remnants of that, Christians are annoying people that just hate atheists kind of ideas. Any remnants of that in my brain I've definitely been taking.
Kaegan is definitely the shiny example of like whoever hates, whoever has that kind of disdain towards certain religions. I would throw Kaegan at them.
Kaegan?
And just say like you are kind of the person.
You're a good man, Kaegan.
I'm so uncomfortable right now.
This
in
is
a
how
sense,
it felt,
you're
dude.
uncomfortable because in a sense, Calum and I are kind of simping after.
And it all gets joined back. What a segue.
Oh man, I don't even know what I was gonna say. I'm very
Jay,
flustered.
what else do you want to go with the simping?
It doesn't really need to go
Can it be
anywhere.
used like a verb like that, or am I a boomer for saying simping?
I think you could say simping. I
Okay.
think this is maybe a little bit below my age too.
Wait, real quick. Simping on gin and juice. Is that? Can I do that?
Nah, shut up, boomer.
That's not a thing.
Cut that out then.
Okay, let me just reiterate one more time because then we can just totally go off topic and not even talk about this anymore. I just want to bring up that a simp is something you'll probably, and to anyone listening, in a timely manner, unless this becomes like some sort of time capsule thing that people come across 40 years from now.
Hey,
Consider it a mark of history.
did people suck in 2020? And then they look at this podcast.
Yeah, they sucked real hard.
Yeah, a simp is someone. It actually is an analogy for something.
Yeah.
It's just not very appropriate.
Oh,
Hit me.
never mind then. No, I don't.
Hit me. Hit me.
I'll say
I
something.
want you to hit me. I'm a simp.
No. It's okay.
This is going off the rails. That's so not okay right now. Okay, so
Puppies.
simps in general, whatever this term is, people, I mean, that's a fear thing, all right? They don't think that they're good enough, and so they're trying desperately to
Absolutely
do what they can.
It's just they're just people who are they're trying to like put someone else down in order to further their chances with like by definition it's literally a guy who is trying to further his intimate chances with a woman.
Okay. Well,
by any means.
well, this is something where hopefully I'll earn some points back.
Yeah.
I mean, genuinely, anyone who is considered a simp or called a simp or anything like that, I think that it's well, for one, it's bullying to call someone like names, like literally.
We would never do something like that.
But I think that there's something behind that. Even if they're putting someone down, like if you have someone who puts you down regularly, or you put down someone regularly, and people have called you out on it. For one, yeah, it's the wrong thing to do, but we all do things that are wrong every day. We don't live perfect lives. But there's something behind that. There's something behind people going that far to further themselves. And it's like, maybe they were hurt at some point. Maybe they just aren't educated about some stuff, like Kaegan. But there's something deeper there. So I just think that there's stuff going on with them. And it goes deeper than just making fun of them for being sympathetic towards, other people. Or trying to seem sympathetic when they're not.
Kaegan, I'm gonna need you to get all the way out of the woke seat.
Oh, sorry about that. I'll get off that thing.
People are good.
By the way, this song this opening song I decided does not match any of the topics.
No.
This is more of like a country song.
Beautiful.
Welcome to Calum's mildly happier history corner.
It's getting better and better every week, huh?
Yep, just a little bit happier. Today I've got a little game for you guys. So I've got 3 historical events. Some of them are true, some of them are false. I'm going to say the name of like a general idea of what the historical event is, and I'm going to just need you guys to tell me if you think it's real or fake. It could be 2 lies and a truth. It could be all truths. It could be all lies. 2 lies and a truth. Maybe there's some other variation there. Who knows?
The biggest flex would be for you to come in here and say, one of these might be fake, and they're just all true.
Don't ever tell me like that again.
Just bring it up for no reason. Hey, did you know that I could be lying?
Did you know actually that whole Guatemalan genocide? Completely made it up.
There's some dark stuff going on in your head, dude.
More than you'd imagine. No.
You should be a story writer at that point.
Okay, so I'm going to hit you with one. You guys ready for it? America helped launch a program called the Star Wars program, which was a laser defense shield around the United States of America.
Yes, Ronald Reagan.
No, to be contrary.
I hate you for knowing about it. True, it actually happened. It cost $26 billion.
What kind of cool lasers were they?
Not ones that worked. The whole program was considered a giant failure.
I didn't even know billion was invented back then.
So it was a strategic. It was actually called the SDI program, the Strategic Defense Initiative, and it was announced publicly in 1983. And it was nicknamed by Senator Ted Kennedy, who gave it the name Star Wars. And it was eventually ended by Bill Clinton in 1993 after it just sucked for like decades, costing a ton of money. To give like an idea of how much this program sucked, one of the scientists who worked on one of the many ways that they wanted to approach this problem, it wasn't all just with like a laser shield. There were plenty of ways that they tried to handle this. Said they couldn't have the technology to do any of this confidently for several decades at least. And then they went on to say they couldn't be sure if it was even possible for at least another decade.
What year was this started?
This was started in 1983.
So it's literally named after Star Wars.
Yeah.
That seems like...
It was basically, Ted Kennedy made a reference to it being Star Wars, and then the Washington posted it and then it just kind of took off with the name from there.
Oh, so what was it called before then, do you know?
The Strategic Defense Initiative. Way less cool. I like Star Wars more.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, it was an alternative proposed by Ronald Reagan to MAD, Mutually Assured Destruction, during the Cold War. Tensions were just dying down. It was less likely that America and Russia were just going to bomb the heck out of each other. But Ronald Reagan still didn't like the idea of us stockpiling nukes, and Russia stockpiling nukes, and the only thing keeping us from launching nukes at each other was the fact that we would also die. So... But, pretty much a lot of these programs that took off ended up sending up, satellites and the like that were just incredibly vulnerable. They could potentially stop a nuke, but literally, a small missile could take them down. So it's so we'll launch a bunch of missiles at those satellites, and then we'll launch the nuke. Got it, cool. So it was really not good systems. The closest they ever got was Brilliant Pebbles, it was called. It was an air-to-air missile system with watermelon-sized projectiles made of tungsten. So they were just these giant blobs that they just launched from the air. And it was developed at Lawrence Livermore National Lab, a lab that I actually applied to work at. So maybe one day I can make big old tungsten watermelon balls.
Yeah, they're living the dream.
And, it was that one was canceled in 1994 before the end of the program. In 1997 was actually when it was ended, I believe. And it was quoted by a whistleblower as there was a whistleblower for a lot of it, and he just claimed it was incredibly wasteful spending underneath the hood of that entire project.
Yeah, I believe it.
So that was Star Wars.
That was Star Wars.
Wow.
All right, next one. Albert Einstein was almost a president.
I'm going to go ahead and say no, because to be a president, you have to have been born in the U.S.
I'm going to say yes to be contrary.
Good job, Kaegan. I never said president of the United States, you
monster.
Coward.
Monstrous coward.
So, Albert Einstein was approached in 1952 after the November 9th death of the first president of Israel, Chaim Weizmann. He was approached by U.S. Ambassador Abba Eban and was offered to continue his scientific research while he was the president of Israel, the second president.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
He basically turned it down because he was like, nah, I'm not much of a people person. So, quote, he said, I lack both the natural aptitude and the experience to deal properly with people and to exercise official functions. So he's a big old nerd.
Yeah, and now he's quoted all the time for things he did not say.
Did not say. He was a huge political activist. He helped set up Israel as a country, and he tried to get, India was one of the countries that he wrote to try and get support for Israel as a nation and just kind of get their backing behind it. He spoke out against a bunch of injustice, so he was a political figure. He spoke out against the Scottsboro Boys trial, which was a completely ridiculous trial against 9 black men for the rape of a white woman, and he completely defended those men because it was a very biased, unfair trial. He tried to convince the rest of the world of Israel's statehood, but didn't want to be the leader.
Really well-rounded guy, I guess.
Yeah, kind of a Renaissance man.
Renaissance man. I've got one more.
Okay, go ahead.
America spent $12 million on space pens.
Wait, they did do that, though.
They did do that.
Unless
they didn't do it. They didn't do it, you fools.
Oh, wait,
Get bamboozled. It's a common email myth that NASA spent $12 million, sometimes exacerbated all the way up to $12 billion, which is ridiculous. So the email goes, ballpoint pens for the astronauts. When NASA started sending astronauts into space, they quickly discovered that ballpoint pens would not work in zero gravity. To combat this problem, NASA scientists spent a decade and $12 billion developing a pen that writes in zero gravity, upside down, on almost any surface, including glass, at temperatures ranging from below freezing to over 300 degrees Celsius.
Jay talked about this.
The Russians used a pencil.
Jay made
Am I
that...
shaming Jay right now on accident?
No, Jay made that joke earlier. Because, like, that's something that he was like... What did I said something to you about... Oh my gosh, alright. So, it was when the Chilean miners were stuck, and you were like, everybody's helping them. And I was like, yeah, you were like, NASA's helping them. I don't even know what they're doing. Yeah. And I was like, they're giving them one of the pens that can, it can write in whatever. And Jay was like, yeah, the Russians even gave him a pencil.
It all comes back. I've been waiting 3 episodes to say this, baby.
Dang.
Wait, so was there really R&D to be done on this kind of pen, or did they just...
There was work done on this pen. Not by NASA. It was not done by NASA. And I put, quote in here, I'm sick of the NASA spent money when Russia was smart story. First off, that's not the story. The problem was NASA had been using lead pencils. Okay? Very flammable. Very, very flammable. They're using graphite actually in them. And don't know if you guys heard about it. Apollo 1. Just caught on fire, burned all the astronauts inside. Very bad time.
Was it because...
Can you not get through anything without getting sad?
Nope.
That didn't have anything to do with pencils, though, right?
he was trying to make a joke, and
the pencil started the fire. The pencil started the fire.
Was he writing his rap lyrics down?
I did hear that particular capsule you were talking about was filled with pure oxygen.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously for the astronauts to have good air, which is also very highly flammable. Man, that really sucks that, like, the thing that we need to exist also tends to be really
very, very deadly.
But also very diluted.
Yeah.
The part that we need to exist.
So, but also, tips of the pencil flaked and broke off, and those little flakes would damage equipment. It's a very pure environment you got going on there. No matter how many videos you see of the astronauts pouring the water in the International Space Station, you see the cool little bubbles. Keep that in confined space.
Is it true that any part of the spaceship can, like, soak up water?
I got no clue.
Did you even do research?
That's not history. That's modern day. I don't care about that.
I went through the gram, bro, and you're not even doing research.
I was watching this review.
Welcome to my review of the International Space Station. Let me give you a tour.
This guy was explaining how they bathe up there. How they wash their hands. How they wash their hair. And he said something, and that it just implied that if water gets loose, like, because it just kind of floats away, that the ship will suck it back up.
That's interesting.
And then they'll be able to use it.
Yeah, that sounds like a bad time if you just get, like, pencil lead in there.
Yeah, what do they use if they don't use pens or pencils?
So here's the thing. They were buying mechanical pencils.
Finger paint.
That's genius.
Just dude, NASA, get this man. They were using mechanical pencils, and I tried to find out why this next fact is the way that it is. I could not find an answer. But they did spend $128.89 per mechanical pencil from Houston's Tycam Engineering Manufacturing Inc. in 1965. This became public knowledge, and people were pissed. The NASA was spending taxpayer money, $129 per mechanical pencil. I have no clue why they were costing that much.
Obviously, someone was skimming off NASA's budget, and they were like, "We'll just make the pencils worth $130. It's fine. No one will notice that."
Are you sure it wasn't like $1.28?
It was
the decimal.
I just reread it.
It's still very expensive for a single pencil.
So Paul C. Fisher comes into the picture. This dude, he knew about, like, the knowledge that they were spending $129 per mechanical pencil, and he invested $1 million into creating the space pen.
So the space pen
didn't work for NASA, but the space pen does exist. No money that was invested into the creation of this pen came from NASA.
Fake news. NASA definitely paid this dude to say that. They're like, they found out, we gotta cover it up.
They saw the posts, like, making the rounds in everybody's emails, and they're like, crap, the Russians got a hold on us. We gotta spread news about this Paul C. Fisher dude. So in 1965, he patented the space pen. It could work down to minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit or up to 400 degrees Fahrenheit.
Not even the astronauts writing the stuff could work in those conditions.
I know, right? You're literally like bursting into flames. Like,
There were so many things about this that I wanted to find more info on. And it was so hard. Like, I wanted to find out, when I read that, I was like, well, what's the typical pen range? And I Googled, like, oh, typical temperature range for pen. And then it's like, oh, here's the best temperature to hit your weed pen at to get the best high, and I'm just like, not what I'm looking for, man.
Dude, I just keep thinking, like, you're like engulfed in flames, and you're like, man, I picked a bad time to write my will.
Crap, it's about to get to 420. I can't.
Or maybe the perfect time.
Ooh, because then it really hits you who you want your space pen to go through.
Or you could just chuck it at them. It'll really hit them who you want your space pen to go.
So he sold these pens at $2.95 each, $2.95.
Oh, I was like, saving millions.
He sold 400 of them to NASA, which, again, another thing I just couldn't find in the information on. This dude invested $1 million in a pen that he only sold 400 of?
Well, now it's in, like, Staples.
Well, like, yeah, here's the thing. This dude also ran for president at one point. This dude was almost the president. He ran as the Democratic Party president in 1960 and 1968.
Wait, was it like Ralph Nader?
Paul C. Fisher, Rolf Nader,
Sounds
tomato,
like an alias
tomato.
to me.
Sounds like who's Rolf Nader?
He's next week's topic.
So the original astronaut pen with July 20, 1969 and Fisher logo engraving is available today from his website
For $2.95?
for $68. That dude's getting his million back.
He was like,
Dude, he
crap.
clearly had bigger things in mind when he was spending $1 million. He's like, you should. Everyone's like, you sure you want to spend $1 million on this? NASA's
Yeah,
only gonna buy,
I'm
like,
thinking
100
long
of these.
haul.
He's
Yeah,
like, I got some other stuff up my sleeve.
yeah, he's dead.
Oh. Jeez.
That money's got to be going somewhere.
Yeah,
To
somebody's
his family, I
making
guess.
all. Who's in charge of this?
So the last person he hit with his
Pen is-
pen as he was writing his
Who was-
will
Who is
in a furnace.
but Canadians are still dicks.
It's just
The
unnecessary.
The E's not going to go away as the show progresses, Kaegan.
Oh, by the way, can we just make it very clear that is a Calum stance on things, not a Jay and Kaegan stance on things?
I could provide context on why this even got said before the show, but I'm not gonna.
We're wearing red and white right now.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, Star Wars is real.
Oh wait, yeah, keep going.
Star Wars is real. Albert Einstein was almost president.
And real.
And real. And space pens are fake.
And real.
And real. Thanks for tuning in.
Oh.
Well, I mean, you can do that real quick, but we probably should say something about our social media. We never do. Are you still breathing manually?
You should listen to another one of our podcasts if you are.
Or if you haven't.
Where can they find our podcasts?
You can find our podcast at... Well, right now you found the podcast, so I don't know why I'm saying that.
How you're bad at plugging.
No, I'm saying our Twitter, Manual Podcast. Our Instagram, @ManualBreathingPod. Our email us questions. We're obviously some very knowledgeable people. Maybe there's something that you want me and Calum to fight, and so you're gonna ask a question on our email. We'll talk about it, guaranteed. That's an episode 6 guarantee. We will read every single email.
Yes. Email? We have an email? Oh yeah, we do. How do we make the?
Oh, and we also have a YouTube channel, Manual Breathing Podcast.
That's where they can find the podcast.
Will we ever create a manual on how to breathe?
Stay
Tune in
tuned
next
and find
week.
out.